I'm very happy to announce our next speaker. Please welcome Dr. Raju Desai, the Executive Director of AIPMA, the All India Plastics Manufacturers Association. His subject is Global Bioplastics Market Drivers and Trends.
Good morning to overseas participants and good afternoon to participants from India. I think in my presentation today, I'll be covering the introduction of both the organizations who are meeting together to give a perspective of bioplastics scenario. So I'll be covering introduction, why biopolymer, global scenario, Indian scenario, and challenges in India. On behalf of President All India Plastics Manufacturers Association, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Peter Pope, Chairman of Polycom, for partnering with AIPMA. At the same time, also acknowledge Mr. Frank Polak and Deepak Balani and their team to garner more than hundreds of participants. Out of this, more than 50% are from India, and this shows interest of Indian plastic industry in embracing this emerging technology. AIPMA is headquartered in Mumbai and having its own office building and offices in all regions starting from Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, and Ahmedabad. AIPMA and through its affiliate members is having more than 20,000 members who are attached with a plastic fraternity. Spectrum of AIPMA services includes many things, but noticeably, AIPMA is 75-year-old organization, and as per the need of industry, AIPMA is transforming from one phase to another. Basically, AIPMA started with representing Indian plastic industry to government, and it was a link between processor and government. After that, AIPMA started exhibitions and trade shows, and this is also in the interest of processors and their stakeholder to encourage growth of all in right direction. Now, after that, to empowering industry in terms of technology information, upgrading methodology for improving global competitiveness through workshop and seminars. After that, recently, AIPMA has started MTech Center at Mumbai and Delhi to conclude online short-term courses for supporting MSME for training and upscaling. Here we are looking forward to partners like Polycom, where we can work together for the mutual benefit. Today's topic on biopolymer, and first question arises in the mind of people, why biopolymer? They always say that need is the mother of invention. Plastic is one of the most useful invention in a mankind because besides daily use, it is playing vital role in the infrastructure, mass transportation, pharma and medical, defense, aerospace, agriculture, and many more. In fact, the plastic is the backbone of any developing economy. Life without plastics is unimaginable. Consumption of plastic material is likely to touch 700 million tons by 2038. One of the side effects of this magic material is its effect on environment. Waste plastics and environment impact due to this has become more prominent because increase in use of plastics. That's why thrust was given to replace traditional fossil-based polymer to biopolymer. Before doing this, people have tried lot of options, including getting away from plastics, going back to conventional material, and so on and so forth. However, it was not practical because by switching over to alternate material has got a bigger carbon footprint than plastics. Comparison of conventional plastic and bioplastics, I think people in India may be aware of it, but just for their knowledge, just to brush up their knowledge, I'm just comparing this material. So conventional plastic is mainly chemicals. Against that, bioplastic is generally microbes. Conventional plastic is high greenhouse gas emission, and bioplastics are lower in gas emissions. One of the disadvantages of conventional plastic is a non-biodegradability and harmful, where biodegradable and bioplastics are biodegradable and harmless. Recycling and destroying process is difficult in case of conventional plastics, where recycling and destroying process is less difficult compared to conventional material in bioplastics. One advantage of conventional plastic, it has got low production costs because it's established engineering and science, where it is a high production cost for bioplastics because it is emerging and trends are getting set. Demand of bioplastic is increasing since past decade due to growing awareness concerning environmental conservation. Use of bioplastics or natural resource for manufacturing material and formulation of various regulations across countries for effective use of natural resources and waste management. This is giving a growth and the direction to the bioplastics. The global bioplastics market size was valued at about 8.3 billion in 2019 and expected to register a compound annual growth of about 16% from 2020 to 2027. Growing population and urbanization, coupled with the increasing awareness regarding health issues in emerging economies of Asia Pacific, are likely to assist end use industries, which in turn is expected to escalate the demand of bioplastics over the forecasted period. Moreover, rising product demand in the packaging industry will drive the market further. Global bioplastic market and forecasting, we are seeing here that it is a biodegradable, it's a bioplastic, out of which some of them are biodegradable and some of them are non-biodegradable. And we can see that it is going to grow from 20 million ton to 24 million ton over a period of next 5 years. The global bioplastic production by segment, and as we all know that the growth drivers are going to be packaging, uh, especially flexible packaging is the highest consumer of biodegradable plastics, and that's what has been shown in this figure here. The polymers which are advancing and playing a major role in this segment are PBAT, PLA, and PBS. These are the biodegradable polymers which are leading the segments as far as the application engineering is concerned. Bioplastics and biopolymer market. So the key trend and why it should grow and where it should grow. Key trend here is focus on sustainable production. So I think that is the key driver, and the whole, as I said earlier, bioplastic has been given a thrust only to look as an alternative of fossil fuel, and because of that, reduction in waste material or save planet by biodegradable material. That's the whole theme behind waste reduction and such things. Another key trend, other than sustainable production, is it is going to depend upon availability of cost-effective bio-based raw material consistently, because biodegradable polymers are region-specific. So some of them are available in plenty in South America. China is emerging as a very big player in this now. So these are going to be available in specific region. Depends upon their biomass availability. So we have to be aligned with this. And the market drivers are emergence of bio-based and renewable raw materials. I think more and more things are being researched, more and more options are available, not as a polymer, but biopolymers and the threads or the filaments which are available from variety of biomass is also been used successfully as a reinforcement. So I think there are the new things which is emerging in the composite area. As I said earlier, the market is expected to grow at the rate of 16% during the forecast period, that is 2018 to 2022. And I think this is a good future, and it is must to have because the specifiers are switching towards more and more biopolymer, and industry and processor need to be taking a cognizance of this and be ready with this emerging trend. However, there is a misunderstanding that all the bioplastics are biodegradable. It is not necessary. There can be bio-based plastics are degradable, and bio-based plastics are non-degradable. So, for example, bio-based LLDP, PP, and other such material, though they are bio-based, they are non-degradable. And similar to that, the bioplastics, which is made out of PLA, PTHA, and other starch and other such material, are biodegradable. It is also very prudent to understand that Indian market share uh, and in Indian packaging industry, the share of plastic and polymers. So if you see this slide, it shows that between rigid packaging and film, it commands more than 35 to 40% of the market share. And this is going to be the growth driver in case of use of biopolymer in packaging and such industry, because packaging is one single largest application of biopolymer. Indian bioplastic market by product, if you see, although it is having, the use of bioplastic is growing as of now, but still India bioplastic market is projected to grow at the 23-24% to reach around 754 million by 2025. This is a small number of, according to world average. However, uh, from 2019, it is expected to touch 2048 million, and increasing environment consciousness is one of the prime factors that is set to drive the Indian plastic or bioplastic market to a new zenith during the forecasted period. Biodegradable bioplastic include polyester, PLA, PHA, starch-based cellulose, esters, and others. A non-degradable bioplastic includes polyethylene, PTE, polyamide, etc. Key players analyzed in Indian bioplastic market are NV Green, Ecolife, Plastobags, Earth Soul India, and True Green. They are some of the market leaders in the respective field, and they have started performing in Indian market. India bioplastic market by application includes packaging, textile, medical, agriculture, horticulture, consumer goods. I think that is also picking up very fast. Automotive, electronics, and building and construction industry. So these are the segment, but the core driver, the growth driver here is the packaging industry, followed by textile and medical. India is the third largest polymer producer after US and China. In spite of that, the use of polymer is at minuscule level as far as the bioplastic is concerned. One should know why. So there are various reasons why uh, bioplastics are not very, or why the bioplastics are in nascent stage. So some of the issues which are discussed at various forums are understanding of biopolymers. It's not, it is a, it is a new subject for the people, processor as well as specifier as far as the bioplastic is concerned. Cost and consistency in availability of biopolymer. We have felt that many times uh, the biopolymers which are based on biomaterials are either short supply or not available, or the cost is prohibitive and it is not affordable. We also have to address insight on processing, application engineering, product designing, recycling, coloring, shelf life of polymer. All such things are a question mark. The mass is not aware of it, and maybe there are some specialists who are good in this subject, but majority of the industry is not aware of this, and they are trying to learn and understand this subject. At the same time, understanding of global versus national standards are also very important, and we need to work on that to make it understand common people, like what I mean to say is by processors in India. There are a lot of myth for plastics or bioplastics. People assume, because of the limited knowledge and exposure, they think that biodegradable and compostable plastics are the same. The difference between biodegradable and compostable is the biodegradability takes place in standard environment, where compostable needs to have specific environment for getting its result. All bioplastics are biodegradable, including BioPP, BioPE, and BioPET. People think that because it is made out of bio-based material, all these three materials are biodegradable, which is not a fact. All biodegradable and compostable bioplastic will degrade in all the conditions like soil biodegradation, compost, etc. So these are all myths which are there in India. These are misunderstanding which is prevailing in India. That's what I'm sharing. All the bioplastics can be recycled in the same way as that of conventional plastics. Bioplastics alone shall solve the plastic pollution problem. Adding additives to bioplastic will make the biodegradable compostable plastics. Bioplastics can easily replace fossil-based plastics. Biopolymers, biodegradable, compostable, biopolymers but not biodegradable. I think these are some of the terminology which are used and which is confusing people more rather than convincing them. Cost and availability, as I mentioned earlier, is a big question mark, because when specifier insists on specifying in the specific application, by the time you make the product ready, we have found in many cases that raw material or feedstock is not available. Or if it is available, it is at a higher price. There has to be insight on processability, whether same machine can be used, same screw design will work, simulation, flow parameters, what it should be the size of gating in terms of injection molding, use of hot runner, behavior of biopolymers in case of hot runners and such advanced system. So this exposure and knowledge in this area has to be increased in case of adapting biopolymers. As I said, product design, application engineering, bioproduct sustainability and suitability with medical engineering, shelf life of the biopolymers. People perceive that the shelf life of the biopolymers will not be as good as polymers made out of by fossil fuel. So these are some of the things which are people are grouping in dark, and we need to educate them, and we need to impart this knowledge in case if you have to increase the use of biopolymers in India. Apart from this, government directives legislation is helping, or rather forcing people to accept biodegradable polymer, and I think it is going to be a driving force. So this is my perspective on the biopolymer and application of biopolymer in India. And I take this opportunity to thank you all very much by sparing your valuable time and hearing me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Dr. Raju Desai from AIPMA for your interesting lecture. And I'm sure the audience would like to learn a bit more about what you were talking about. So a warm welcome to India, Dr. Raju Desai. We are happy that you are with us today, and we would now like to start the discussion. We have received several questions from the audience, which Martin has selected. We might not be able to answer all of them, but we will definitely try to answer a few. So now I would like to give the word to Martin.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you as well for your interesting lecture you gave. It reminds me years back on the time when we were starting here in Europe with biodegradable and compostable plastics, developing compounds and having the same questions on the desk. So please be reinforced or motivated to move on. It will spread across the industry, and those questions will be solved. And it's very good to say what you've said. I mean, for sure, the first reaction years back, about 10 years back, was biopolymers, compostable polymers are too expensive. And yes, you can get them also cheaper, but you know the performance also not given. So it needs to be a balance, and I think this will be somehow also balancing the market and demands. As you said, in bags, you get very low grades in terms of performance with less shelf life and also a better performing one. Nevertheless, I think there are also, beside the technical questions, what we were prepared for sure, there are also a lot of questions which we like to hand over and motivate the people to build up the network. I mean, we are here for the network itself, and Polycom is also very happy to receive the questions. Is there anybody where we can sell parts to? Is there anybody you, as Mr. Desai, can also couple to somebody from German market? So I had a question saying, yeah, if it moves on as predicted in the previous lectures as well in yours, we are also happy. We have already injection molding machines installed in India. Let's set up a network. I like those questions, which were not more a question, it was more or less a comment at the end of the day. But coming back to the questions, there was a question, as you might know, in Europe, the CO2 taxing is a quite popular topic. We've not heard in the previous presentations whether CO2 taxing is actually happening in India. Can you comment about that? Because you need a lot of electricity. There's also a lot of CO2 emission coupled to that. Can you comment on that?
You're talking about tool taxing? Can you?
CO2 taxing, so greenhouse emission gas taxing. Is that also a
Carbon.
topic? Because that might be also very interesting for people like to move to India.
Yeah, Dr. Martin, you are absolutely right. The CO2 emission is also a question, and people, industry, and government are becoming more and more aware in line of the global standard and the norms. So maybe as of now, it is not addressed in totality, but in time to come, people will have to take a cognizance of this and then look into this.
Thank you. I think this is also very interesting for the audience to hear. There is another question coming from India. It starts with, India is still in the nascent phase with respect to biopolymers. What you think are the major challenges that India faces at the moment? You were explaining already some of those. Maybe you can condense them a little bit more from your point of view.
Yeah, so I think we have to divide the application of bioplastics process-wise, because in a packaging, it has got a different challenges. In injection molding, it has got a different challenges. And the question is right that we are in a nascent stage. And first of all, we should get the enough information and really try to understand how these people or the developing country are, attending this or using this. And I think it is more from the specifier and the customer who are forcing uh, supplier to adapt bioplastics. And there are going to be challenges till we know the subject in totality. So as I mentioned in some of my slides before, that the knowledge about the polymer, the shelf life, the designing with bioplastics, with the same machine will work, whether the stimulation is possible, degradation, recycling, all these things are a very big question mark, and people are trying to learn. And I think once we, down the road, once we start working with this technology, once we have willingness to implement bioplastics, I think all
Mm-hmm.
these questions will be answered.
Yeah, I'm also with you in this regard. You are focusing on one topic which I like a lot, injection molding. So injection molding comes a lot, but me, I'm also an injection molder by heart. But a question of the audience comes from a different application. It's more in India today. We have a daunting task of recovering used plastics product used in agriculture. Can we provide a solution for that in terms of biopolymers? And maybe you can answer first, but I also like to comment to that question as well.
Yeah, Dr. Martin, I think these are very valid questions. And I think if the bioplastics is used in terms of film or greenhouse film or things like that, I think it will become a part of the environment over a period of time. And there exists a possibility of using such kind of technology or such kind of biopolymer to, I think, adapt in this application in agriculture. And especially, I think I also read somewhere that the root trainers, I think when they are making a small plants and when they do the germination of the seed, those can be done in a bioplastic. So when you plant, there is no need of removing it. It gets merged with the soil. And there are a lot of possibility and applications. Sure.
Yes, you're right. I would have answered very similar to your response as you responded. So I think we from BSF side, we are working as well as others quite a long time for mulch film application. So the blown film, which can be left and then also digged under soil after harvesting. But you are right. It's also about the other products. It's planting pots, but it's also clips in greenhouses and twines, etc. Where it strongly depends on the thickness and also on the polymer requirements. If you need to have something very stiff, very massive, and also very thick in wall thickness, it's a completely different degradation process in soil and might also not degrade if there's too much PLA used, as, for example, if you go for polyester-based film for mulching. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think here India is a very good example where we can do something. We've also jointly studied that with universities in India. So I think that's a very encouraging field where biopolymers can be used. Yeah, thank you for that question, Rohit. The other question is a comparison advantage of mechanical, thermal, and chemical properties and recycling methods, as you have mentioned, for biopolymers existing compared to LDPE, HDPE, and polypropylene. I think that's what you already said. It needs to be compared in every individual case because the biopolymers is not only one plastic. It's different compounds adopted for injection molding, for film extrusion, or for twines, correct? And but do you offer those help as AIPMA? So can people address that question to you as organization?
Yeah, so the AIPMA job is to make people aware of the recent trend technology, and I think we will keep on doing that. We will access the technology and then make people aware of it. And these are the very standard and common questions we receive, and that is what exactly I was mentioning. So we have to empower people with the more information and knowledge. And through this kind of seminar or partnering with the Polycom and companies like BSF for sure, I think we will like to make people aware that which are the best practices followed as far as the biopolymer is concerned.
Mm-hmm. Great. Great. Just need to read through the other ones. So here's another one also coming from India about recommendations to process starch blends and how to recycle these. I think that's the same. I mean, that's a question which I would address myself to the supplier of the material, because they should know best how to do. And second,
Yeah,
it's
please.
yeah, unfortunately, BASF is not selling starch compounds at this moment in time, but nevertheless, I think the others do, and they are very happy to answer their questions, as I know. Yes, and the recycling is a huge topic, as I know, in India as well. But I
Yes.
think it's, as we had the first question as well addressed, it's this early stage where everybody needs to charge up the know-how, and it's good to have you as organization doing so. Just a second.
Sure, take your time.
Yeah, I think what I can there are not other questions out of a very much different direction. So may I ask also a question? How about the R&D and your feeling about the support of Indian R&D? I know, and me myself visiting the agriculture industry and also the universities related to that, I had a very good feeling. And I know that India is very well equipped in on this education level. How do you see that in terms of injection molding of blown films, or more on the plastics processing side? Can you also comment on that?
Yeah, so yeah, sure, Dr. Martin. I think as of now, as per my best of my information, first India is focusing on testing of biopolymer. So I think a lot of labs, including government labs, universities, and professional testing houses are establishing necessary facility to test. So biopolymers available from all corners of the world, and which is good, which is not for specific applications. So testing labs are really doing good. And there are some basic research is going on in few of the universities in India. But as I said, that focus is on more of a processing technology than a polymer technology.
Yeah.
So I think the machine manufacturers and other people are joining together to see that how we can adapt and embrace this new technology faster.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the same road what we already gone over the past years, or where we are still in, also here in Europe. And I'm very happy to also have some lectures on this topic within this Congress today.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Raju Desai, for answering the questions. It was very interesting. Thank you very much for being with us. And we're wishing you most of luck. All the best. Stay healthy.
Thank you very much.
And yeah.
Thank you, Polycom. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
You're
being with
welcome.
us. Welcome. Bye.
Yeah.